Hey, how's it going? Hope you're well and all's good. I'm back with another video after a little bit of time off. I've just moved house, and that would explain the poor audio quality as well. I've got no soft furnishing in this room. I've got no microphone. I've got none of my gear set up. But I didn't want that to stop me doing this session for you today. And it's a really important session. It's about your musical goals. Quite often I ask guitar players, what is it you'd actually like to be able to do? What is it you'd love to be able to accomplish? What sort of sounds do you hear in your head? And how do you want to express those musically? What do you want to do and be able to do on your instrument? And quite often, people aren't really clear on their musical goals and stuff. It's really hard to plan that destination for yourself as a student of the instrument, but also as a teacher and as a coach, as an educator. It's really hard to plan that destination if you don't really know where it is, right? So we're going to start with quite an interesting question, a bit of a deep one to start with. I thought we'd get that out of the way, and that is, are you a musician? And it's a question that I've wrestled with myself from time to time. But quite often, when I talk to people, not just students necessarily, but just people out and about in general, guys that sort of sing and play guitar, people that play piano, people that can sing really well, drummers, like whoever it is, I say to them, well, okay, so, as a musician, or you're a musician, and they're like, well, I play an instrument, but I wouldn't call myself a musician. Or I sing, but I wouldn't consider myself a musician. Or, I play a bit of guitar, but yeah, I'm not a musician. Well, you kind of are. If you are um, playing any instrument, you're a musician. And um, I find it fascinating because, again, it translates to other areas of life as well. You'll get someone that does yoga, for example, and they don't consider themselves to be a yogi, even though that's the term for someone who practices yoga, right? I'm not a big yoga guy, but I do martial arts, and quite often it's the same thing. You have guys that do kickboxing or Muay Thai or Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, or even like karate and stuff like this, and they don't consider themselves to be martial artists. I'm like, but you are. That is, you are practicing martial arts, so you're a martial artist. And they go, well, I go to class once a week, but I wouldn't consider myself a martial artist. So before we get into like defining what your actual musical goals are, I would love for you to sit with that question for about 90 seconds or so, before we get into the meat and potatoes of this musical goals project. I would just like to ask you that question to start with. Are you a musician? All right, now we've got all the deep stuff out the way. Let's go to a more straightforward question. I want you to give yourself a rating out of 5 for each of these areas. So this is just to determine where you are right now. So rate yourself 1 to 5 in each of these areas. Your motivation and desire to play and improve. How much you actually practice a week, honestly. How much you actually enjoy playing or practicing right now. And your sense of progress. Do you feel that you're actually getting any better? So for each of those questions, write down a number 1 to 5, and remember you can use the form that I'll link you to at the bottom of this session. Right, question 3, ready for the big one. Here it is. What do you actually want to be able to do with music? If I was able to give you all the skills, tools, and knowledge from the musical gods, and you were able to play absolutely anything you like, what would be amazing? What would you absolutely love to do? What's the first thing you would do? If you had all the skills and tools and knowledge, what would be amazing? What would you love to do? So we're just going to take a couple of minutes to really think about this question. But most people never stop to really go deep and answer this question. They just play, they get frustrated, they pick it up and put it back down again, and they repeat that cycle over and over again because there is no destination. You can't progress towards something you haven't defined. So again, I just want you to take another 90 seconds or so just to really think about what it is that actually lights you up. Is it technique? Is it improvisation? Is it songs? Is it performing? Is it writing your own music? Or is it simply that you just want to get better at this hobby of yours? There's no right or wrong answer, just an honest answer. I just want you to write down what matters to you. Not what you think matters, not what you think you should be doing, not all the things you could be doing. I just want you to write down what it is that matters to you. Okie doke, question 4. What's stopping you? What's getting in the way? One thing that a lot of guitar teachers won't tell you or won't talk about is it's nothing to do with your technical ability. So, as a guitar coach, I spend more time convincing guys that they can do the thing rather than teaching them the thing, because it's all this other stuff that's going on around guitar that's the problem. It's time. life just takes over and practice is the first thing that gets dropped. It might be a focus. You sit down to play and you don't know what to work on really, so you just noodle around for 20 minutes and then you end up putting it back down. It might be mindset. You might compare yourself to players way beyond your technical level and it makes you feel like you're never going to get there. It might be consistency. So you might have good days or good weeks and then a few terrible days or weeks and you can't seem to get that routine. You can't seem to get that rhythm down. Whatever it is for you, write it down. What's getting in the way? This is a really important step because if you write it down and give it a name, you've got power over it and you can start to deal with it as opposed to just burying your head in the sand or just being completely unaware of what the problem is. Nearly there. Well done for sticking with it so far. Right. Question 5. If the next 6 months were a success, what would be different? This is the thing about this question. I want you to write it down like it's already happened. So don't write down, I just want to get better at guitar, because that's not an answer. I want you to imagine that it's 6 months from now. What are you able to do? Are you improvising over backing tracks and feeling really confident and you're not making mistakes or losing your place? Are you able to play a selection of full songs from beginning to end, finally, without stopping? Would you just like to have something like clean bar chords for a change? Would you be performing somewhere? Would you be up on stage at a local bar or a local venue? Would you just be playing for friends and family? Whatever it is, get specific about it. One thing that's really important to note is like 6 months is a long time. You can do a hell of a lot in 6 months. 100 and, no, not 120 days, 180 days even. Your maths isn't my strong point, clearly. But yeah, you can get a lot done in that time. 6 months is a hell of a long time, especially if you're practicing consistently. Right, last question. Why does this all matter to you? What's the big deal? Why is this so important to you? I think this is a question that a lot of people kind of gloss over, but it is the most important one. It's the why you're doing the thing you're doing. Motivation isn't something you find or something that comes down through divine intervention or anything like that. It's something you build. Momentum will build your motivation. And every time you sit down to practice and you don't feel like it, your reasons, your compelling reasons for practicing in the first place, that's what's going to get you through. Some people find doing this stuff harder than actually just practicing guitar. But if you've done it properly, and I mean, if you've really done it and spent a good few minutes answering these questions, not just like skimming through them, you've done something that a lot of people won't do. You've stopped, you've become more aware, you've been honest with yourself, and hopefully you've got some clarity over what your musical goals are moving forward. There's a link below this session, and it just takes you to a form. Fill in the form with your answers, and I'll come back to you with a plan and a process on how to get you exactly where you would like to be. I hope you found that useful. Take care. Speak soon.